Oh, I'm convinced. What's your argument? That's a very convincing argument, sir.
So I was attacked again this week, today in fact, not for the fourth time, but for the second, but, well, at least the second that I was actually hit. But what I find really interesting is that the media is now encouraging this. Milkshake thrown at UKIP candidate for the fourth time this week. This is becoming a habit. And then a video with some jaunty little music. Listen to this. That's very jaunty, isn't it? As if this is all fun and games. This is intimidation. This is political intimidation that is being drummed up by the state, by the media, the state, politicians on Twitter, corporations, and is being fully facilitated as part of the democratic process as a method of deplatforming. I don't think it's wise for the left, or the establishment, whatever it is, to normalise political violence against outsiders and dissidents. You have to let them fail at the ballot box by their own standards, by their own means, and you don't have the right to intimidate them and encourage violence against them through your reporting, which is what you're doing. For example, I had the fourth milkshake thrown over me in over a week. In a week. No, that's not true. I've had two thrown on me. 2 people have failed. That's fake news. The far-right activist, I don't agree with that label. Why would you not use the term I used to describe myself? The English liberal activist would be a fair title, but far-right, you don't know where I am on the political spectrum. It would make more sense to promote me as I define myself. I mean, it seems uncharitable to define that person for them. But I was touring Salisbury as part of my campaign for the European elections this week, was targeted by opponents in the street. Yes, I was attacked by radical left-wingers. That's what's happening, because I am opposed to radical left-wingers. In fact, I'm opposed to the left-wing hegemony of this country. I think there should be an equal balance between left and right, and at the moment the right has been crushed, at least influentially, ideologically. A Twitter user who posted a photograph of him doused in the milkshake quickly received more than 1,000 likes. Well, so what? That's nothing. I mean, I posted a picture of myself saying, "You fools, no amount of milkshake can stop me," and I got 5,500 likes. But I mean, hey, a guy got 1,000 likes on Twitter. That's bloody important stuff, remember? I mean, that's newsworthy, is it? Another Twitter user posted, "This is becoming a habit." Yes. Is it wise to incite political violence in our system? We are, like, violence is the place you're never allowed to go to. The person who does this kind of thing loses the argument. And it's clear by the way that they've been acting that they just don't have one. They're just wrong on the things that they're talking about. We are right on these issues, and they know it, which is why they have to try and silence me. And not just me, Tommy. Like, today, Tommy, I saw on his Telegram earlier, he was attacked by a gang of Muslims called the Muslim Defense Force, whatever that is, and I'm sure they're going to be categorized as fascists very soon, who were throwing eggs and bricks, who ended up smashing up a bunch of police cars. And again, the coverage was, oh, violence broke out. No, they were attacked. I suppose I should thank the Independent for actually pointing out that it is people targeting me that's doing this. I guess I should thank you for it. Earlier this week, police in Totnes separated Benjamin's supporters from demonstrators after he was doused in a milkshake for the third time. No, that was the first time. But anyway, don't worry about the facts. You're not bothered about the facts. You're spinning a narrative, right? But it wasn't that. My supporters were not separated from them. They were separated from us because they attacked us. Because you whipped them out about a bunch of lies. I would literally just interrogate, like Andrew Brightbastard, just ask the protesters one by one, what are you here for? What do you think? And none of them know anything. Like, I had a history teacher who couldn't define fascism. I had a bunch of left-wing activists who literally didn't know what I'd actually said. And there was one guy who didn't even know who I was. He thought I was Milo Yiannopoulos, who happened not to be there for that day. And then he thought I was Paul Joseph Watson. Again, I'm not. And I was like, okay, well, what's my name? So, and he couldn't tell me. He didn't know who the hell I was. But he knew that something bad was going on and that he had to go down and do something about it. And blah, 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 blah. It's like, what the hell is this? Like, these people don't know anything. Like, today at Salisbury, there was this one guy who was like, you're a fascist, you're a fascist. Okay, well, I'm a constitutionalist. I'm for limited government. He's like, well, no, you're a fascist. Like, well, what is fascism? He's like, oh, I can define fascism. I'm just not going to. There was a lady in a wheelchair. She's like, I know what you're about. I know what you're about. Well, what am I about? Oh, I'm not going to tell you. I was like, well, why not? Tell everyone what I'm about, and I can say, well, hey, I believe those things, or I can say, no, I don't believe those things. And she obviously wouldn't say it because she knew that she didn't know what was going on. It's embarrassing how uninformed these protesters are, and I just make them look like absolute pillocks to everyone watching. They're not doing themselves, and then them throwing stuff and getting violent. It's like, that doesn't make me look bad. That makes you look like bullies. When the media actually incites this kind of aggression against me, and then we're actually attacked, and the same with Tommy as well. When the media incites this, which people can see that that's what you're doing, you look like bullies. I mean, look at this, right? This is what Burger King tweeted out. Dear people of Scotland, we're selling milkshakes all weekend. Have fun, love Burger King. 14,000 retweets, 74,000 likes. That's you inciting violence. And it's, we'd never endorse violence. Well, dude, who said anything about violence? Why are you worried about endorsing it? No one would say that Burger King, we're selling milkshakes all weekend, love Burger King. No one would say that was endorsing violence. But because of the fucking context, you know that you are dog whistling and endorsing violence. So you go like, oh, wait, we don't endorse violence. Yes, you do, you liars. I mean, honestly, I can't believe that this is the case now, right? But this incitement against political candidates is being used as an excuse to deplatform those political parties that exist outside of Westminster. Things like UKIP, things that do things other than sit in Parliament and worry about what people said on Twitter all day, right? I've been banned from various hustings under the thing of public order risk. It could be a public order risk. Right, okay, what do you mean? You mean I might be attacked by radical idiots who don't know anything, useful idiots who don't know anything, who've been whipped up by a media campaign against me, a smear campaign against me, because they don't like the fact that I know what they do. I know what they think, and I will directly challenge their gender politics bullshit on its own merits, while every other politician just fucking caves because they're politically correct cucks. That's what it is, isn't it? This is the reason that I'm being treated this way, and the same with Tommy, and we've come to the point where the political establishment is denouncing certain people that they don't like. This is a green light to the media to then whip up a hate mob who then go out and physically attack these people, and that is used as an excuse to deplatform them from the political process. That's the situation in Britain in 2019. Political violence has become a normal way to keep political competition out of the running, to make sure they don't get to engage in the democratic process on a level field. Right? This is what we're doing. This is Britain in 2019. This is the establishment losing its grip on power, realizing that there are other narratives outside of their own. And in fact, the moral impetus for these narratives has come from the moral failings of the establishment, which is why everything they do when dealing with any of these sort of dissident outsiders is not ask them, okay, what are your arguments on the merits, which is what someone who is intellectually confident would do. No, they have to try and make us ashamed to be the people that we are, to think the things that we think, and to have the fun that we have, to make jokes. We should be ashamed of this, and that is the tool that they use to keep everyone in line. And if we don't bow to this, if we don't say sorry, they hate us. They can't control us. Any of the dissident campaigners, any of the dissident politicians, that's what they're afraid of, not being able to control them. And so now it's come to the point where they will legitimize political violence and use that violence to deplatform us. This is a genuinely worrying point in Western and British politics in particular. And I tell you what, any other country, do not tolerate the first egg thrown, the first milkshake thrown, right? Do not tolerate it, right? And we don't. For people on the inside. Jeremy Corbyn got egged about a month ago. 2 months ago now. And the guy who did it got a month in jail for just throwing an egg. It's one rule for one rule for another. And I do not think this is a very wise thing for us to do. Whether you like a person or not, regardless of how offensive you find them, you have a duty to make sure you do not attack them. You personally. You know that that's wrong. You know that that's an attempt at outright violence or intimidation, and you know you wouldn't want it happening to yourself. So maybe you should check your privilege, look at the power that you wield and think, for the sake of the integrity of democracy in this country, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't encourage political violence, even if it is at currently a low scale. But again, I hasten to add, Tommy Robinson had bricks thrown at him today in Oldham by the Muslim Defence Force.
You guys, make sure you go and show some support to the locals, yeah? Go and join the Muslim Defence League page if you're on it. I'm in Oldham today, guys. Remember this next time, Halifax. Next time, come out like these brothers have in Oldham, yeah? Yeah, we've got about 300 people with us, bro. Let's go to the front line with my boys. The Halifax Pakistanis repping in Oldham.
Boys, everyone close it! Close it!
Yo, chill out, man.
Here we are in Oldham, and there's a gang of young Muslims trying to fight their way past police lines to come and attack us or silence Tommy. They say the police are obviously quite worried. I think they're going to be getting the tear gas out shortly, because they've been stopped from this entrance here, and they've wandered all the way around to the left.
So this is not acceptable. You should not be bringing political violence into our democracy, and it will not end well if you do. I don't even know who it'll end badly for. It'll just be bad. It'll be bad when people actually start dying in the streets. So let's actually talk. Free speech is the way we solve our problems. Stop acting like your opinions are made of glass and can't withstand the slightest touch of a counter-narrative, of an outside force, of anything that might contradict what you already believe. Unless, of course, you think you have received wisdom from the gods. Okay? You do not have a perfect truth. You have a duty to listen to other people, what they think is true, and see what about that is true. Actually examine it, interrogate it, honestly. Stop acting like you're about to lose everything. I'll tell you what though, this campaign has been amazing, and it has been an absolute pleasure to be denounced by both Jeremy Corbyn and Nick Griffin, the leader of the British National Party and the leader of the Labour Party. The fascists and the communists have both denounced the Liberal. I'm doing my job right. And frankly, Jeremy Corbyn, this is appalling. There's absolutely no place anywhere in society. You know, yeah, I bet you were saying that about being egged as well. Are you going to say that about everyone else being attacked? Or is it just one rule for you and another rule for us, lowly plebeians?